And we had a dance show, or we finally had a dance show this weekend. So yeah, that's my win.
That is awesome, brother. Round of applause for Joshua, everyone. How did that dance show go?
It went great. We had actually a full house. It was with one of the studios that I'm working with. So yeah, glad to see the students be happy and
Damn,
teachers
that
being
is
happy.
awesome. Yeah, homie, that's amazing. Congratulations. Klaus, tell us what's your fitness win, health-related win for the last week?
Yeah, my win is I figured out that I get water in my body if I put not up my legs. So that's why I will shut down my camera and lay down because I have everything prepared. So I can hear you.
That's an amazing insight, homie. Round of applause for Klaus, everyone.
So then I hear you all the time.
That's good. That's good. That's awesome. Elinda, tell us, champ lady, what's going on your side of the planet?
Daily workouts for the last 2 weeks. So consistency. So yay.
Oh,
We see you in the Facebook group. We see you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we have the last one here. David, what's your win for this week?
My win is that I'm back to 5 a.m. club.
Boom.
Going up early, getting shit done before everyone else is even awake.
That's awesome.
What I do.
That's what he do.
That's what I do.
That's what he do. I'm not part of that club right now. Not right now. I'm not part of that club. My win for the week is that I had a solid workout this morning. It was a legit one, so I'm happy for it. Didn't follow any script, just off the top of me and David's head. We had a good workout together. All right, in today's call, we're gonna talk about one of the most important cornerstones of mental discipline. It's not gonna take a whole lot of time, but I'm gonna do my absolute best to give you some clarity in how to start believing more in yourself, right? And have just a belief in yourself. Because I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that the current situation that you are faced with, if you just stop looking at the screen and just look around you for a second, I believe that you are where you are in life right now because of your previous thoughts. I believe you are where you are right now in life because of your previous thoughts and how much quality these thoughts had. Because the mental outlook ultimately determines the physical outlook. So if your mental outlook is sharp, on point, practicing, your outside world is going to become just that. If you're living in a positive sphere where you're constantly appreciating, being grateful, feeling a sense of pride for the things that you've accomplished, that is going to determine how everything else is playing out in life, right? And belief in self, it's a skill, it's a practice, it's something that you have to do consequently in order for you to become who you want to become. And that's the beautiful thing with it, because every once in a while you see people who have super belief in themselves and then something happens and the progression stops. And it all comes down to the fact that they stopped practicing, they stopped believing in themselves, they stopped doing what they were supposed to be doing. And the thing is that if you do get this thing right, you're not only going to feel more accomplished, you're going to be happier, you're going to trust yourself more, you're going to dare to do more things, so ultimately you be more brave. If you don't get this right, you feel that you're constantly running after something, you're constantly not feeling that you're good enough, you're constantly feeling overworked, and it's a huge chance that you'll end up becoming the less version of yourself. You won't become that big version of yourself that you actually deserve to be, right? And this is like one of the first big mistakes that I see a lot of people do, especially dancers, is that we don't acknowledge our wins. We don't look at our lives and we see that like, wow, I've done all of these things in my past. I've done I've learned how to dance. I've helped this and this student go from where they were to becoming all the way here. I have these accomplishments. I have done that thing. So you don't acknowledge it. And if you don't acknowledge it, you cannot build on top of it. Right? True story. Why did I like this workout this morning? Why is that such a win for myself? Because I really wanted to test myself this morning. I had every excuse to not do this workout. I had a rough weekend. I didn't sleep more than 5 hours on any of the day. I'm not recharged at all. So I have all of these things going against me, but I wanted to go in and prove to myself how much I can push myself. Let's see how good I can create this workout just from telling myself, just with my mindset, right? How deep can I go? So you're constantly testing yourself. You're constantly like pushing the boundaries in order for you to go to where you want to go, right? And one of the main things why you are not as confident in your own ability to complete something, you don't believe in yourself enough, is because you've been doing all of these types of big commitments before. I'm gonna go 1 year without sugar. I'm gonna dance every day, 1 hour every day. I'm gonna read a book a week, blah, blah, blah. So you make these big commitments, but then you don't fulfill them. You don't fulfill your own big commitments. You don't complete them. So your own mind is registering, and all of these gets registered in your conscious or your subconscious. And what ends up happening is that you stop believing in yourself. You stop believing in yourself because you don't have any credibility. Your word to yourself doesn't have any credibility, right? Is that making sense? Thumbs up if I'm making sense. Yeah. We have all done these big commitments, but we didn't pass them. Is this making sense, Sandra? Yeah, perfect. So imagine this, right? Instead, here is tip number 1 in order for you to become to have more self-belief. The first thing that you need to do is that you need to prove to yourself that the words that you're saying, the things that you're promising yourself actually matters. And how do you do that? You start committing to micro things. You do micro commitments, all right? Micro commitment as in, instead of thinking, oh, I'm gonna train 45 minutes every day, you say, I'm gonna train for 20 minutes, 2 days a week or 3 days a week. More attainable. And I'm gonna do that for the next 3 weeks. So it's a micro commitment, right? But it's the same thing as you did when you did dancing, when you started learning this new skill, because you already know how to master a new skill. So you're taking a macro concept and you're applying it to a micro situation, right? You take a macro concept that you've done before and you apply it to a micro situation. And then you can blame, you know what I mean? Like there is so many valid excuses why you don't believe in yourself or why you're not feeling that like this is what it is. And it's like you can blame past trauma, you can blame society, you can blame the color of your nose or your hair or your whatever. There is so many things to blame. And they are all probably pretty valid excuses, right? I mean, some excuses are real. But it doesn't take away the fact that your self-belief is your own responsibility to build. Your self-belief is your own responsibility to build. Nobody else can build that except you. I can't help you with that. I can give you some tools, but in order for you to get to where you want to get in life and to fix that thing and feel how you want to truly feel about yourself, you and only you can get to that next level. That makes sense, right? You have to decide, you have to make a conscious decision that I am going to fix my self-belief And when I look in the mirror, I want to feel proud. I want to feel happy. I want to feel X, Y, and Z. I want to believe in myself. And I say this so many times, but it's like, it's impossible to build up wins that you didn't acknowledge. And these things that we are doing is that there are a few things that I want to talk about today. And the first is obviously like the micro commitments and the mental discipline, how the outcome is, the mental outlook will determine the physical outlook. And then the second one is just, I want to give you guys a few tips in order for you to actually boost your self-belief, right? Some of the things you heard before, hopefully I can bring some new nuances to this. Is that all right with everyone? Perfect, because there's nothing worse than constantly feeling that you're underperforming. You're constantly feeling that you can do better. But then at the same time, where you start to do something, you always have that little voice in your head that is like pulling the brakes. You know, like it's pushing the brakes, the thing that is like, you shouldn't do that. Who do you think you are? Why would you do that? Why would anybody buy your course? Why would you even consider that you could win a battle? You're not going to get hired for that job. It's unnecessary for you to do this, blah, blah, blah. And all of these things happens, right? All of these voices happens in here. But you have to look at the macro concept and apply it to a micro situation. The macro concept here, one of many, is that it's part of it, right? Whatever you're feeling, the setbacks, the fear, whatever, it's completely okay to feel it. But it's not okay to let it determine the outcome. All right? It's not okay to let it determine the outcome. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel disbelief in yourself, but it's not okay to stop, right? It's that continuous action towards whatever is the thing that you want to pursue, right? So like you don't, self-belief, it's something that you deserve. It doesn't come by random. It comes by you looking at your life and really understanding. It's like, wow, I have done all of these things. That was me. I did that show. I choreographed that. I did that journey. I did this. I'm that person that came from this and ended up here. I went through that divorce. I went through that breakup. So you have to acknowledge all of the things that you've done and how you came out on the other side, right? So as the mind cannot hold two thoughts at the same time, you have to at the same time be able to focus. It's such an important topic that you have to be able to focus on your outcome and stay put and believe with everything in your mind that you are going to end up here. Did that make sense? Was it no? It didn't really make sense. So if you don't believe that you are going to end up in this situation, let's say you want to become a professional dancer, but right now you're not. Right now you're here and you want to go here. But if you don't believe in the fact that you can actually make it, how do you think you're going to end up there? By random? That's not how things work. You end up at places where you have been taking consistent action, follow the plan, and then you end up here. It doesn't happen by random. Nobody comes in a professional dancer randomly. It's a very conscious decision, but you have to believe in yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. So the first thing that I want to run over, these are practical steps right now to improve your self-belief. All right. And after I'm going to run over these are 4 tips that I'm going to run over. And then after that, we're going to do a Q&A about this topic. All right. First thing is my favorite tool is the tool I always go back to. In order for you to boost your self-belief, it's the cookie jar. Do we all know what the cookie jar is by now? Yeah? Cookie jar? Not do this if you know what the cookie jar is. This is if you don't know what the cookie jar is. Okay, cool. I'm going to assume everybody knows the cookie jar now. Perfect. So cookie jar essentially is the highlight reel of your life, right? All of the things that you've done in order for you to come to where you are. And then you also look at like micro situations, but you apply the macro thing, the macro view of that situation. So you can say, I was injured and everybody, or my doctor said that I would never be able to dance. Here I am now, a professional dancer, for example, something that happened to me several times, right? So not only is that situation something that I should be boosted, that makes me believe more in myself. I'm also looking at the macro window here, or from a macro view, and I'm looking at it and I say, wow, everybody talked against me, all these experts, but I betted on myself and I fixed it. I fixed it. I didn't let anybody else fix it. I took care of it. Yeah. So there is a deeper lesson than just the fact of like, okay, wow, I'm like I did it. You know what I mean? There's a deeper lesson that goes with it. Same thing goes for when you, like, I really want everyone to understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about the macro space, right? Like the macro view to a smaller situation. So what I mean is that, take another example, it's like, how many here have heard their parents say, you should get a normal job, have a plan B, don't become a dancer? All of us, right? So what I mean with this is really like, when you're looking at this thing and you're looking at your highlight reel, your cookie jar, these are things you need to write down. These are things you need to be proud of, that you had all your parents, your family, all the cultural background and the cultural norms that you're raised with were telling you to take this way in life, but you decided to follow your heart, right? So that's the macro thing. That's the bigger lesson than just like, I became a professional dancer. Boom, I'm awesome. Yes, that's fantastic. And you should write that down also. But it's this big ass lesson that is up here, right? And then that lesson is something that you should carry on, because just for that belief of like, I did that, I went on that journey, you can also look at other journeys that you are on that are much easier than the journey you have already been through. How many years of dancing do you have? Now I'm taking dancing, you can take whatever scenario in your life, right? You danced for, you've been professional for 10 plus years. So if I can do that journey, why couldn't I be able to just lose a little bit of weight? Yeah. If there is so many people before me that have done this shit that I'm trying to accomplish, why wouldn't I be able to do it? Why wouldn't I be able to do it? I know I'm not special, and I know that they are not special. They breathe the same air as I do. They come from the same earth as I do. They have they have 2 legs. I have 2 legs. If they can do it, I can do it. Nothing special, just that I believe in myself so much that if one man can do it, I guarantee you, if I train enough, if I decide that I'm going to do it, I can make it happen. Why? Self-belief, because I'm very aware of the things that I've accomplished in my cookie jar. That makes sense? The more you understand about yourself, the more you have data on the things that you have done, the more and you really look at them and say like, hey, I'm proud of this. That's where you build your confidence. That's where you build your self-belief. That's the first thing. Second tips of my top 4 practical tips in order for you to boost your self-belief is what I call the mirror challenge. Most of you have done some type of mirror challenge if you are in our Dance Health program. This is something I do frequently. As often as I can, when I have a moment alone while brushing my teeth, I look into the mirror and just look into my own eyes, deep into my own eyes, and I just hear what conversations that are happening up there. Just hear what type of conversation is happening up there. And it doesn't even need necessarily to be the mirror. The mirror is because it shows you. You can't deny it. You look in your mirror and you know it. You're proud of your accomplishments. Or you look into the mirror and you say, like, you know what, you can do better. But the days you know that you did all that you could have done that day, these days are days where you feel proud. And then you build off that, and then you build off that, and you build off that. So you're constantly growing with that thing. Yeah? Constantly making sure to move forward, constantly making sure to look and have a serious conversation with yourself. Right? And the same thing, you look around you, it's like, wow, I live here now. Again, same concept, just different scenario. Look around you. How do I live? Like, look at this. Like, I have a television. Like, I have all this crazy view that I had. I remember when I couldn't afford paying this. I remember when I couldn't afford paying the bus. I remember when I went to go to work, but I came late to work because every time there was like, you know, the thing, the controlant, like a controller, I had to run off the bus because I didn't have money to pay to go to work. Now I'm here. So it's the same macro concept, but I'm building off it. Second thing, mirror challenge. First thing, cookie jar. Third thing is what is the micro commitments, but more importantly, micro challenges. Micro commitments is obviously when you commit to something short term, and you do it in order for you to prove to yourself that you're actually believe in yourself. So, like, I have a set of things that I do every week. I stretch 6 days a week. I do my bed every day. Like, first thing I do my bed every day, no matter if the world is upside down, I do my bed. Why? Win straight away. I've told myself I'm going to do it, then I do it. All right? So it's the same thing, smaller things, but I promised myself I've done that. I've done longer physical commitments. That's why I'm so confident in my ability. If I wanted to become a professional fighter by the age of 30, as I am right now, I'm certain I could do that. I could have done it. If I want to go back to becoming or to be even like to get more in my career of dancing in my age, certain I could. Why? I've done these huge challenges. I pushed my body so much. I've done 100 days. I've done 200 workouts in 100 days. I did 1 or 2 workouts every day. I've traveled all over the world. I know how much I can push my body. I know how strong my mind is. I know that I don't need to sleep for days and I can still perform. I've traveled from Europe to United States, show the same day, landed Friday, did show on Friday, flew back on Monday, went to Russia the weekend after, flew back, same intensity, landed, did all of that shit, flew to Japan afterwards, came back to Norway. While in Norway, I had a part-time job and I was buying an apartment at the same time, which was a tremendous headache. But I've done it and I know I've done it. So I know that I can perform under the worst conditions. I know I can do that. I know if I need to, I can entertain a crowd right now without knowing the song, without any preparation, without warming up. Just, I know, boom. If I need to, I can entertain a crowd right now. So I have that belief in myself, right? And then I apply that concept to smaller situations, right? So if I've done that on bigger levels, why would I feel that I'm not able to have a webinar for you guys, for example. I don't get nervous for these webinars. Why? Because I've done all of that shit. I've done all of those things. But even if presenting and talking to you is not the same thing as holding, doing a show or doing these solo shows that I did all over the world, it's not the same thing, but I still believe in myself. I believe that if I can do that shit, I'm pretty confident that I can, bust up a webinar that then provide value. If I consume a book a week minimum, considering how much audiobooks I listen to, and as much as I'm reading when I'm focused on reading, like if I consume a book a week, I'm pretty confident that I can pull out something here that's going to provide value, right? That makes sense, right? So that's the third thing, like micro commitments, micro challenges, and holding yourself accountable. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and then we're going to talk about Q&A, we're going to do Q&A, is what I call thought replacement. Self-belief comes from your own belief in self. This self-belief or self-disbelief or whatever that's called, not believing in yourself, comes from negative thought patterns. So here's what I do. Every time I feel a negative inclination or negative voice happening in my mind, as soon as I hear it, I stop and I recognize that I'm hearing it, and I think about something positive instead. Let's say I have a student that joined our program. She was aware of it. Like she was very aware of what she joined. Same things as you guys. She was very, very aware of it. She read the contract. She read the terms and conditions. Very aware of it. Few weeks in, she decided this is not for her. Now I am the worst person who have ever walked the face of the earth, right? Unhappy clients. It happens to all of us, right? So, and it bothered my mind for a little while, but every time I heard, because she had a lot of nasty things about me and about my character, blah, blah, blah. Every time I started thinking about her, I replaced that thought with thinking about my grandmother, because I love my grandma. Did that make sense? So every time I heard something negative, I started like, fuck, like, she told me this, and then maybe that is true, blah, blah, blah. I stopped thinking about it, and I started to think about something else. So I replaced that thought. So every time I thought about it, it was fast over to thinking about grandma. And then fast, and then faster, and then faster, and then faster. And then all of a sudden, she was starting to wash away from my mind, and I was just more thinking about my grandma. For example, thought replacement. So every time that voice of disbelief comes presenting itself to your mind, what do? You replace that thought with something else, something that you make, something that you're proud of, something that you've done in the past, something that you know is like, this thing, I'm fucking proud over it. I moved from a different country. I'm moving to another country again, even if everybody's telling me I'm crazy. Why do I do it? Because my heart tells me to do it. I'm doing a career in dancing, even though blah, blah, blah. Again, macro concepts to micro situations. Everyone around me told me I was crazy to become a professional dancer. Here I am, fucking crushing it. Now I'm doing this. Everyone told me that I should stay in this country, or I should move to that country because they have better economy. I should take this job because I will make more money. But I won't be as happy. I won't feel as fulfilled. So I'm not taking that step in life. Yeah? Quick recap before we do some Q&A, guys. This is essentially everything I wanted to run over with you guys. I wanted to compartmentalize it, hold it under 30 minutes, because I think this is a super valuable and super needed conversations that we have. You can't let your old traumas, excuses, environment determine your self-belief. Your self-belief is your own responsibility. I gave you 4 practical tips in order to improve your self-belief. Cookie jar, micro commitments, mirror challenge, and thought replacement. And then the last thing is that your mental outlook 100% determines your wish. Your mental outlook determines your external outlook, your physical outlook. If you let everybody talk you down when you made that choice to move, when you made that choice to change your job, when you made this choice for you to become a professional dancer, to take this route in life, and you let them affect what's happening up here, they win. They win. Don't let them do that. Don't let them do that. Don't let anyone control your mind, control your thoughts. Your happiness, your self-belief is 100% your responsibility, and no one should be able to hold you down or to make you stop believing in yourself while you are on this journey. Yes? Perfect. Do we have any questions on this subject or any other subjects, or are we all good to go? Go, Sandra.
Can you explain again the mirror challenge, because I didn't really understand.
Okay, so the mirror challenge, and let's not call it mirror challenge, it's more a concept. I believe that when you look at yourself in front of the mirror for a little moment, don't stress it, but when you look in front of the mirror, there is a lot of thoughts happening, there's a lot of voices happening, a lot of things. But if you stand there long enough, they're going to disappear, and then there's going to be one bigger thought, one concept that is bigger than everything else. So it's very hard to lie to yourself if you look yourself in the eye, right? And that's what I want you to do. That's what I want you to do. And also, again, you look at these macro things that I've been talking about and apply them to the micro situation. So you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like, wow, like, look at me, like I'm this old now. Look how far I came. I remember when I saw everyone, I sat here in the chair here earlier today, and I was like, I looked out and just had a little moment for myself, and this is like, wow, like I live here. I've done that shit now. I speak 5 languages. I've been a professional dancer. I've been a professional model. Like I am a business coach. But I still remember that when I started and I didn't have any money and I was struggling, I still remember all of that thing like it was yesterday. So when you take that moment and look into the mirror and you see all of your scars, you see your tattoos, you see if your body is how you want it to be. You see if your life is the way you want it to be. That's what the mirror concept is about. It's about facing reality. Did that make more sense, Sandra? Yeah. So it's more of a concept than a challenge, I'd say. I should have called it the mirror concept probably, but yeah, it's these moments of time where you pause and you look and you consciously reflect over what you're going through, or who you are at the moment, or what you've been going through. Right? Any other questions on the webinar or general? What's been your biggest takeaway, Raluca?
My biggest takeaway is to invest more time into thinking about the stuff that you accomplished, because I tend to just brush it off and just find a new project very quickly.
Exactly. So like subconsciously, you have belief in yourself to get on a new project because you've been succeeding in different projects. But imagine if all of those things were conscious. Imagine if you were aware of all of the things you've done and you could remind yourself daily of all the things. And then it's like, wow, if I can accomplish that, this little thing that I'm trying to do now, even if it's a completely different thing, I'm gonna do it like it's nothing. You know what I mean? What was your biggest takeaway, Joshua?
Well, my biggest takeaway was, well, one, to recognize your wins and also the micro challenges and commitments. Like it's not too big and can be easy, can be doable, like making your bed or just get up earlier and like just when you wake up, get up out of bed, don't stay there too long. And the thought replacement when you have made this pattern of negative thoughts and you're always jumping back to it, but instead of keep going back to it, you recognize it that it's there, and then you try to do something about it to make it a better, more positive pattern instead of a negative pattern.
Exactly. That's
But
awesome.
everything takes time, so be patient.
You have to respect the process. You have to respect the process. Just like everything, every battle you do is not going to be great. Every practice you do is not going to be great, but you're going to go back tomorrow and you're going to go back to a day after that and day after that and day after that. And sooner or later, you'll get to that next level. You know what I mean? Is there anything you want to add, Sandra?
No, I appreciated the replacement.
Yeah.
Because I think if you get this way of thinking, you can put it into all the tips and see differently everything on the positive things you've done, etc. For me, have a positive inside voice is maybe the micro challenge I have to take every day and every day.
Yeah, I mean, and that's so important. That's so important because you only have just this much energy. So if you're gonna spend this much of that energy on negativity, it's like you don't have that. You don't have that time. You don't have that luxury. You know what I mean? You don't have the luxury to spend 30% of your 100% into negative thought patterns because they don't serve you, right? They don't make your situation better. So don't allow that. You have to put up some rules and frameworks to your mind. What's up, Diane? How you doing? Behind. How is everything? You good? Let's see here. Ask you to unmute real quick. Going once, going twice, doesn't work. Don't worry about it. We know you're with us. Everybody wave. She's new to the group. What's good? Hey, how's it going? Everybody unmute yourself and say welcome to the family. Unmute yourself real quick and say welcome to the family. It's our first webinar.
Welcome.
Welcome to the family.
Welcome. Awesome. But yeah, just to like really circle around and to circle back, and we soon finish, guys. Like this is all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So in order for you to build and to accomplish more, you have to, number one, acknowledge your wins. You can't build off anything you haven't acknowledged. It's impossible. If you never took the time and said to yourself, yo, like it would, fuck, like I did that. I took myself through that shit. I became that person. I completed my studies. You know, when I say like I have a degree from the Norwegian School of Sports Science, right? Like I have a fitness degree from the Norwegian School of Sports Science. You want to know why I'm so proud of that shit? Because I don't speak Norwegian. I'm Swedish. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. The 2 months of school, the first 2 months before school started, I studied Norwegian. I had to learn how to read a different language. It's similar, but it's not the same. It took me 2 months to like get into it. Not only did I do that, I also got fucking robbed during that time. Like I got robbed in my home. Like true story. So the first month in school, I moved 3 times. I moved 3 times within a month. So the only time I could study, this is why I don't accept when people are telling me like, yeah, but I don't have time to blah, blah, blah. Because I was working 2 jobs, I went to school and I moved 3 times. You know, when I studied during commute, every time I was on the bus, I sat with my leg crossed, I had my right leg crossed, I had my notepad on the foot, and I had my book on the thigh. Like, and I was sitting there scribbling, sitting there studying. Like, I know, I see Diana has a similar story, that's for sure. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. So it's like, but I've done that. I'm that guy. I'm the guy who did that shit. No one else. And because I've reminded myself so many times of that story, of that journey. So now when I'm presented to like, you know, now when you travel, like we're traveling, and it's like, oh my God, it's so hectic to travel during COVID, blah, it's so hard. It's like, listen, if I did that, you think this is gonna bother me? This little thing right now that I'm going through, even if it has nothing to do with each other. But it's still, again, I take a macro lesson, and I apply it to a specific minimal situation in my life. Yes, if I can accomplish that, this is nothing. Little stressed right now because of work, don't worry about it. Me, I overcame suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety. I've been chased by Nazis in school, by neo-Nazis when I used to go to school. This thing right here, little stressed, work 16 hours for my own passion, any day of the week. Don't worry, I used to work 16 hours at McDonald's. Don't worry about it. This is nothing. Yeah. Work with my passion. Yeah. I'd love to. No worries. So you have to test yourself, because you have to push yourself so you understand how far you can go, right? This is not advice. I don't think anybody should like hit the wall, right? But I do believe there is a threshold that you need to surpass in order for you to understand. It's like, I'm that guy. I call it the gangster shit I've done, right? I call my cookie jar, the headline of my cookie jar, where I write everything down. Cookie jar, Diane is it's like the highlight reel of your life. So you write down all the things you've done. Overcame depression, had that thing with my family, did that thing in school, got robbed, this and this happened, right? So you remember all the things you've done. And when you write that down, and then I can see it, it's like, but if I did that shit, if I did that, and I compare it to this thing that I'm presenting with now, easy work. Is it gonna be hard? Yes, it's gonna be hard. But I know how far I can push myself because I've tested it. Didn't sleep a lot during the weekend. Don't worry about it. Am I gonna work out? Of course I'm gonna work out. Why? Because I have done 200 workouts, 100 a day consecutively. 2 workouts every day for 100 days. Didn't miss a workout. So you think now, just because I slept a little bad, you think I'm gonna skip this workout? Nah, never. Like it doesn't happen. Because I believe so much in myself, and the same thing comes with work. It's like you're constantly pushing. You're constantly pushing. You're pushing to the extent of like, oh wow, like I'm like, this is what overwhelming feels like. This is what like that little taste of wow, like I feel like I'm getting burned. Like you know, all of us have felt that. All of us have pushed ourselves to the extent of like, I'm not sure how much further I can push. That's when you stop. You take micro rests, you empty your cup, or you fill your cup, depending on how you want to see it, and you recharge yourself. But now you know Now you know I can push myself here. And then next time you push yourself just a little bit more. Oh, wow, like I can go all the way here now, and push yourself a little bit more. And then slowly but surely, because the worst thing you can do with this, so you watch out for this, is that you go so hard and you don't listen to your body. So you, boom, you burn yourself out. You burn yourself out. That's a real thing. Like you can actually, which is just so fascinating that the mind can do this. Like, think about this, guys. You can push your body and your mind so much that you burn out. Like, imagine that. Imagine that. Like you, like your being, like the highest self of you, you can push the physical self of you and the mental self of you to such an extent that you burn out. Like, imagine that. Like, how crazy is that? Like, for me, I find it so fascinating. I find it so fascinating. But you don't want to go that hard. There's still limitations to it. But don't be scared. Put pressure. Listen, put pressures. If people have done it before you, go to work. Yes, but coach, like, I don't have time to train. Okay, wow. Okay, please tell me more about it. Yeah, but I have a job. I'm a single mother and I teach dance classes. Listen, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea how it is to be a single mother. I have no idea. Zero. But what I do know is that there are single mothers before you that had a job and they was dancing also. So they had night activities and they managed to stay in shape. I mean, they've done it. So, or they have managed to, you know, hack the game, or you are doing something wrong, right? So if anybody else have done it, who's a similar situation that you have, why wouldn't you be able to do it? They are not special, you are not special, copy and paste it, right? I have no idea how it is to be a single mom, but I know how it is to be raised by one. And I remember my mom having 2 jobs, always cooked for us. There was always food at home. She had 2, true story. My mom had 2 jobs. She was studying full time, always took care of us, had 2 kids, and she trained. How? I don't know. I don't know how she did it, but I know she did it because I saw it. So if she can do it, why can't you? Yeah, but these external things, this and this, blah, 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 all valid. They're probably really valid excuses, but your self-belief, your results is your own responsibility. Elinda, shoot.
I was thinking about what you said about your mom. You don't know how she did it, but I'm thinking you do know, given, you know, your experience as a coach. I'm thinking because she had 2 kids, that was her big why. That was her big why.
Of course.
She had 2 kids to feed, so she had to take care of business. So if she had a setback, she couldn't let it stop her because she had to take care of 2 kids.
Yeah, just went to work, you know what I mean? So it's like, and then when you hear, so it's hard for me sometimes, like, I'm honest, like, it's hard for me sometimes, guys, when we're talking and some of this is like, you hear the reason why somebody's not putting in work, and it's like, but what? It's like, you're not the first one who are in that situation. It's like, yeah, but I have a kid and it's like, she needs 24-hour surveillance. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not, like, you're not the first mom on the history of the planet that have done this. So if anyone can do it, why wouldn't you be able to do it? Self-belief, because you have committed your mind to believing in the things that you've been telling yourself. So just repeating that action or repeating that thought process over and over and over again. And with neuroelasticity, it just gets stronger. It just gets so much stronger. He who thinks he can and he who thinks he can't are both usually right. And that's It's that simple. So we need to be inspired by it. Just like Helene is saying, it's like, we know about it. We know about it. Like, I know the power of women. Why? Mom. You know what I mean? Like, I know that you can change, as you can change traits in yourself when you are an older man. Why? Dad. You know? So if they can do it, why wouldn't you be able to do it? If anyone have done it before me, that means that I can do it. If I decide that I'm going to become the first Cape Verdean rocket scientist, or there probably are some Cape Verdean rocket scientists, I don't know, but maybe say astronaut. I don't think there's been a Cape Verdean, I don't think there's a Criollo who's been to space yet. If I decide I'm going to be the first one, I'll be the first one. Why? Because I see another guy doing it. I see another man doing it. So you need to recognize, you need to grab inspiration from things that is around you. Again, macro lessons and applying it to micro situations. Oh, you think you're the first one who is tired, who went to do your workout? Shut up, sit your ass down, go to work. You know how often I tell myself this? You know how often I laugh about myself? It's like, oh, you're a little hungover. No, you're a little hungover, Sebastian, go to work. What are you talking about? Enough with this silliness. Yes? Thumbs up if this was of any value. Thumbs up if this made any sense. Yes? Fantastic. Hi, Tomilia. Do we have any questions? Is there anybody who wants to share some light on some concept, or just talk a little bit, or we're done for today?
Okay, this is Diane. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I was had some difficulty joining, so I just want to say hello to everyone, and I'm glad that I caught that coach. That was amazing. And as you were speaking, I thought of two things. Number one, somehow we always do find a way to get the things done that are important, no matter how busy we are. If something has to absolutely be done, somehow we squeeze it in and we get it done.
Yeah.
And then something that I heard a pastor say once that woke me up, this was like 10, 12 years ago. I never forgot it. He said, there's somebody who could take the hand that you were dealt and they could win with that hand. They could take your husband, your job, your wife, your situation, your health. They could play that exact hand and they could win. And that woke me up. It's exactly what you were saying. And that's been a powerful motivator for me. I'm not gonna lose with the hand that God dealt me.
No, yeah. I got this hand. This is the only hand I got. They gave me. I got an ace and I got a 5 and a 4. You know, I'm gonna play this hand to the absolute best of my abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah. 100%. That's very well. That's a very great way of saying it. And then it's also like one of those things is like, I mean, I put a quote. Where did I put that? Let's see if I just give me a second. It was about just that. One second. It was something along the lines of like, there is nothing more honorable to do in life than to play with the card, like to go all in on the hand you were dealt with. You were dealt this hand. Look around you. This is you. Go all in on it. Like, how can you walk? Like, how can you exist in today's world with internet and not be inspired to like, wow, like I gotta go all in. Like I gotta go all in. And it doesn't need to be money, it doesn't need to be success. It's just general, like how there are so many people, like suicide rate is through the fucking roof. Like David's brother was here. He stayed a month. In a month, 2 people that he knew tried to commit suicide. One succeeded. He's 19. Like, true story. Like and here I am, feeling a little bad that I didn't, you know what I mean? Beating myself up that I had this cake. I had chocolate this weekend. Here I am beating myself up for eating some fucking chocolate. Well, there's 90-year-olds over there killing themselves for whatever thing they are going through, right? It's like, put things in perspective. And again, macro versus micro, this situation, yeah, there is a lesson to learn there. There's a lesson to learn here. Don't like stay disciplined. You know what I mean? Like, don't put things in your mouth that you don't want in your mouth. It's that simple. Like, that's the overall lesson, right? But when you've done it, got it, I did it, I feel bad about it, I shouldn't have done it, I'm gonna learn, done, next. Leave it. Leave it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Why? Listen, there's more important things to care about. You did that shit, you stepped out of your way, done, learn your lesson, next. It's time to move on. You did that dance show, yeah, it was terrible. It happens to the best of us, champ. It's part of the process, keep moving. You haven't done anything in your life that has been like a streamlined process of success. Nothing. You didn't ace every test in school. You didn't ace every interview you went to. You didn't succeed in every relationship you went into. You didn't succeed in every conversation that you went into. So why on planet Earth would you even have the audacity to consider that the diet and training thing that you're doing is going to be streamlined? It's not. It's going to be all over the place. That's not the point. The point is that we're moving forward. The point is that we're moving forward. You failed, or you failed. Fantastic. Congratulations. You know what that means? It means that you're one, like, you only have that many failures. You're only going to fail that many times because at some point you're going to learn. So now we're one lesson less. You know what I mean? It's like that lesson is done. Yep, here we go. Shouldn't have chocolate when I don't really feel like having chocolate. You know what I mean? Shouldn't have chocolate on the Thursday. Why? Because I eat chocolate on Saturdays. Saturday is my chocolate day. I do delayed gratifications. I have Saturdays are the days when I, indulge into all of these things. I binge eat and all that shit. Then I fast Sundays. That works for me. But so why? You know what I mean? Like, discipline. Did that make sense? I really, it's been an eye-opener for me lately to really look at I've been talking about this whole webinar, I feel, but looking at macro concepts and applying them to micro situations. You learn a lot. Like, you go to like countries like this, like you go to Africa, anywhere in Africa, I believe, I haven't been all over, but whenever I go, there is lessons to learn in nature. There's lessons to learn in day-to-day life of people, and you can apply them to so many things. Progression is what it is. Nature is progressive. It always moves forward, even if it's a plant and it's like it grows up and then it's time for it to die, or to, I'm not saying it in English, but like to deteriorate. Is that how you say it? Yeah. So after sometimes it's time for a plant to deteriorate, but the plant doesn't disappear. It goes into earth, and then wind comes and it blows it away, and then it creates something else over there. It was done here, and then it's next thing happening over there. Done, next. Much like anything. Yes? Okay, familia, I hear how I'm starting to sound like a hippie, which usually is an indicator of that it's time for us to to close this thing off before I go off here. All right, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for coming. I really enjoy doing our bi-weekly webinars. I'm gonna stay more active inside of the Facebook group. This week, I have a lot of new things teaching. I'm reading a lot again, giving a lot of new inputs, so I have more to put out, filling up my own cup while watering flowers or whatever you say. So thank you. Really appreciate you for being here. It gives me a moment to think a lot. It gives me a moment to express myself. I love it. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to unmute you, or you should unmute yourself. Unmute all of you guys. I'm going to say bye dancers. And you're going to say for dancers. And I'm going to record this thing on my social media. And then that's all she wrote. All right. Beam. Bam. Check a plan. All right. Wait. 1 second. All right, here we go. Guys, thank you so much for coming. This is our Dancer Self program. Dancers from all over the world becoming mentally and physically stronger. Remember, as always, by dancers.
For dancers.
Bye. Ciao. Thank you so much for coming. Ciao. Take care, huh? See you next week and the week after.
Yeah.
See you in the application. I talk to you in the application. Ciao. Take care.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.